Okay. And Max, whenever you would like to start.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this information session. My name is Professor Max Garcia-Melchor, and I'm the course director of this MSc in Energy Science at Trinity College Dublin. And I'm an assistant professor in the School of Chemistry of Trinity College Dublin as well. So the purpose of this info session is to just give you a broad overview of this MSc and perhaps discuss or highlight a few aspects which we believe make this MSc unique. So before I start with the talk and showing you the slides about the MSc, let me just introduce the other members of the Energy Science team management team. Today we have with us Dr. Niamh McGoldrick. She's the global officer in the School of Chemistry and the School of Physics. And here at the bottom, we have Professor Juan Diego Rodriguez Blanco. He is the Deputy Course Director of the MSc in Energy Science, and he's an assistant professor in the School of Natural Sciences. So this is the Energy Science Management team. And if you ever have any questions or you want to know more about the MSc, you have here the contact details of each of us. So feel free to send us an email. And you have also the email address for the Energy Science course. I'll show you that later on. It's energyscience@tcd.ie. Okay, so I guess I would like to start with this open question: why an MSc in Energy Science, and why should we care about energy science, and why we believe is a very timely topic? Well, all of you are probably aware of the consequences of climate change. These are real pictures, scenarios that are especially showing the dramatic and drastic consequences of climate change. You see all these polluting big cities, or you have the melting of the glaciers, and this is in big part because of the emissions of greenhouse gases. And one of the top greenhouse gas emission gases is CO2. And here you can see these data from the PP Energy Outlook, which is showing the projected increase in CO2 emissions up to 2035. And you can see that the exponential growth of CO2 emissions is actually quite concerning. And as some of you may know, the European Commission has set a target within the Green Deal framework, which aims to cut the emissions of greenhouse gases by 50% by 2035, and to actually become carbon neutral by 2035. So if we want to live a future and a sustainable and habitable planet for the future generations, we need to do something about it. We need to start making changes and implementing these changes as soon as possible. So this is, again, a photo or an image to illustrate the energy consumption. And this is from data from 2010. And essentially, I won't go into the details, but this is just to show you that our society mainly relies on fossil fuels. So fossil fuels like oil, natural gas, and coal make up most of our energy consumption. And if you look at the numbers 2 years ago, and believe me, this hasn't changed much in the last couple of years, the percentages just go up or down by 1 or 2%. So the makeup of other renewable sources or biomass or nuclear energy has a slightly increased only. So again, if you want to stop climate change and you want to revert and reduce the CO2 emissions and the emissions of other greenhouse gases, we need to move very quickly. So we ideally would like to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels, if possible, replace them. And the best and the most attractive strategy is to switch entirely to renewable energies. The issue with all these renewable energies, which you have some examples here, like hydropower, wind power, solar power, is that, as you might imagine, all these renewable sources, while they are very clean and very promising, they are not intermittent. They are intermittent, so you cannot get energy from these natural sources 24/7. And I guess a perfect example is solar power. Sunlight, you only get part of the electromagnetic radiation during the day. So if you want to rely only on renewable sources, you need to store this energy. So that's one of the main issues of all these renewable sources. And this brings up the necessity of storing this energy and to use that energy, for instance, to store this excess of electricity, renewable electricity, in the form of chemical bonds. And this is why we need a future generation of energy scientists. This is a figure taken from this review paper in Science, published in Science a few years ago, and it illustrates very nicely what we believe we need to do if we want to make our planet more sustainable. So one idea is to take this excess of renewable electricity and use it to store energy, this excess of energy, in the form of chemical bonds. And you can do that in many different ways. You can reduce all these small molecules into, for instance, ammonia. And the nice thing of ammonia is that you can also use for the production of fertilizers, and then you can use it to generate biomass, which again you can use in the chemical industry and upgrade it and use it as a chemical fuel, for instance. Or you can also use it in power plants. And CO2, it's another chemical feedstock. It's highly abundant, and we actually want to get rid of CO2 emissions. So we can take CO2 from the atmosphere, and in the same vein, we can also reduce it and produce chemicals which can be used in chemical plants, or you can also use it to generate chemical feedstocks or other chemicals with a higher value, or chemical fuels to power transportation or our cars. And another chemical feedstock is water, which is highly abundant, and you probably have heard of the promises of hydrogen, green hydrogen production, which can be used in fuel cells to power our homes or houses and buildings. So these are the, I would say, renewable energy technologies. But in this MSc, you will see in a minute that we also address and we provide training and we teach you all about conventional energy resources as well. And why do we need to train the future generation of energy scientists? Because if you want to address this major issue, this global challenge, you need to involve people with different backgrounds. And here you have some of the disciplines that might be needed to contribute to address this global challenge. And the issue is that all these people with different backgrounds, they have different ways to communicate, they use different languages. So we need a new generation of scientists which understand all of these different disciplines and have the proper background to not just interact with all of them, but also interact with the industry stakeholders and with the governmental agencies. Because if we want to really make a change, this needs to come not just from the fundamental science, but it needs to come from all the levels, including governments and industry. So that's why we believe energy scientists will play an essential role in the next future years. And that's what we are trying to, what we offer in this MSc. We offer the training for you to become the next generation of energy scientists. Obviously, one might ask why or how this can be achieved, how you can provide such a broad knowledge that can possibly train somebody who understands all the people, all the background of all those different disciplines. And the only way to ensure and deliver this multidisciplinary training is by involving people from many different disciplines and backgrounds. And this is why this MSc in Energy Science is actually a joint effort between 4 different schools: the School of Chemistry, Physics, Engineering, and Natural Sciences. And here you have some of these, the academics involved in the teaching of this MSc program. Each of these academics are renowned experts in their fields, and the expertise span from combustion and engines to electrochemistry, raw materials, electrical machines, nuclear power, photovoltaics, batteries, nuclear energy. So all the different aspects and disciplines that I showed you in the previous slide. In addition, we have also a lecture which is from the International Agency, Atomic Energy Association or Agency, is Dr. Killian Smith. He works for the Department of the Nuclear Safety and Security at the IAEA. So as you can see, the MSc in Energy Science offers this multidisciplinary training by involving 4 different schools. And we also believe that doing this MSc in Trinity College also it's very attractive for the following reasons. So Trinity, in case you're not very familiar with Trinity, Trinity is the top university in Ireland. It's also ranked within the 100 top universities in the world rankings, and it's one of the most innovative universities in the EU. And it ranks also very high in all these different rankings in terms of impact and also in terms of international universities. And it's also one of the top safest universities, or one of the top countries that is the most safe countries in the world. So it's a really good place to be. We offer high quality training, and you'll see that most of our graduates actually find jobs in the industry quite quickly after graduating. The location of Trinity is very unique. Here you can see a photo of the Dublin city center, and this, what you can see here, this is Trinity College Dublin. You can see that we are located at the very heart of Dublin center, and it's also strategically located. Again, this is Trinity, and you have nearby all these top tech companies that you will probably recognize. Let me see if, yeah, so this is Trinity College Dublin. This is an extension of Trinity, which is called Trinity East. And then surrounding Trinity East and Trinity College Dublin, you have all these top tech companies like Accenture, Dropbox, and Google as well, Facebook. All these top tech companies are surrounding us, and this is the plan is to make the in the next few years the Silicon Valley of Europe. So the location is also very ideal. So let me just say a few words why this MSc and what's unique about the MSc that we are offering. First of all, our MSc is very international. So we have received applications from all over the world, and we have applicants and students that are from many different countries. We have had applicants from South America, applicants from North America. This year, we have a couple of students from Africa. We have students from Spain, students from the UK, and also students from India, China. So it's a very multidisciplinary and international student, which I believe makes it quite unique. The interaction with the students has been fantastic because of the different culture. We have seen that students get along very well. It's a very, very friendly environment. People tend to help each other a lot, and I believe it makes your experience even more satisfying and enrichful. In terms of job opportunities after the MC, we're very proud to see that most of our graduates find jobs in industry, as I said earlier. In particular, we have seen, and this figure is up to the 2021 class, 94 of our energy science graduates have been employed in the energy industry sector. And here I'll give you some examples. This is Selena Paxton. She did the MC in energy science with us in 1920, and she's nowadays a graduate asset optimizer at Hydropower in the UK. We have also Vishnu. When he finished the MSc in energy science, he went to work for the United Nations framework at the Convention for Climate Change office in Germany. We have also Robert Smith from the same class. He got a job offer right after graduating at Electro Road Market Access as Shift Energy Trader. And here you have other examples. This is Sarah O'Halloran from the class of 2019 at Vika Bad and Pratval Rao. All of them got job offers in industry. Pratval decided that he wanted to stay in academia and do some research. I know that this year he started as research assistant, but this year I believe he has started his PhD in the School of Physics. And this is Wei Ming Liu, who also decided to continue his career in academia. So he's doing a PhD as well in the School of Physics. So as you can see, the amount of opportunities and job prospects are numerous and very broad, which is quite interesting. And it's good to know that all the graduates have a very specialized background, and that's being industry finds very interesting and very unique to have the opportunity to hire people with such a specialized background. This is a picture of the this year class. So the number of students have increased quite a bit. We doubled the class in the last year. So this year we have a total of 24 students, which you can see here, and some of the academics in energy science. The numbers are continuously growing, and I believe this is because people is realizing of the importance of energy science and how critical it will be in the next coming years, and also because it's a very unique, as I said, MSc, which prepares you to take all these jobs in industry in the energy sector. As part of the MSc in energy science, with your academic with your registration fees, you'll also become an affiliate member of the Energy Institute, and this comes with the following benefits. You'll have online professional development, access to this professional development tool, My Career Path, and you will also have access to the Energy Institute Company Members Directory, so you can avail of contacts of up to 150 companies. So it's very good to establish relationships and contacts with people in industry, and that will help you finding jobs if that's what you want after graduating. They also provide training courses and knowledge resources. You have access to a large number of articles, information services, as well as bulletins, magazines, and you will be subscribed to these news and views that they release regularly with industry updates and opportunities. And on top of all this information and access to all this data, you will also have discounted rates in all the events organized by the Energy Institute, and that includes conferences and seminars which are organized all across Europe. In terms of the course structure, this is the screenshot of our program. It consists in 6 different modules. The first one is an introductory module to energy science, because as I will show you in a second, we welcome applications from students with different backgrounds in science. So the purpose of this introductory module is to bring to the same level all the people despite their backgrounds. So we have different contents besides context and philosophy of energy science and environmental impact of energy utilization and economics. We have very basic modules on thermodynamics, reaction kinetics, and heat transfer, as well as electromagnetism and materials for energy applications. And these are the courses that will be required to follow all the more specific modules, which we call the core modules. And there are a total of 5 core modules. And in these modules, we will address and taught you all you need to know about conventional energy sources and technologies, and that includes fossil fuels and nuclear reactors. And then you will move on to sustainable energy technologies. Here you will see most of the technologies that I showed you at the beginning of my presentation. So that will include electrochemical cell technology, photovoltaics, and also all the technologies to capture and convert carbon dioxide into chemical feedstocks or added value chemicals. It is important that you not only know about all these technologies, but you also learn how this energy, which hopefully will be produced in a more sustainable way from renewable sources, how to distribute this energy to the power grid. And that's why in this core module 3, electric power generation and distribution, we'll teach you about power systems in smart grids, as well as electric machines and power electronics. For instance, you learn how electric vehicles work and how this energy generated can be integrated to the grid. Then in core module number 4, again, we'll continue with the training on sustainable energy technologies. In this case, we will tackle biomass and biofuels, energy sources in particular for the green hydrogen production. And we will also teach you all about the wind energy generation and storage. While most MSCs out there cover some of these topics, I think we're also unique in the sense that we also have this additional core module where we address and teach you, again, the fundamentals of all the raw materials and techniques to quantify and characterize these raw materials, because most of these technologies rely on rare earth elements or elements that are critical, that are not very abundant. So it's very important that you learn how these materials can be extracted from mines and how they can be recycled. We also have this component taught by Dr. Killian Smith from the IEAI, and this is the last part of the MSc. This is a 15-week research project which you can choose to undertake in academia with one of our lecturers or in one of the groups led by academics in the 4 different schools, or you can choose to do your project in industry. Now, the academic calendar for next year, it's not available yet, but I wanted to show you the academic year for the present year. So this consists of, I believe it's 11 teaching weeks. We have a week in between, which we call study or review week. During this week, there are no lectures. So this week is intended for students to review all the material and to ask questions. Then after the last teaching week, in the week of November, we had another revision week before Christmas. And then this is the assessment period for undergraduate courses. For the MSc, we had the exams after Christmas. So during these 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of January. We had the exams this year. And I forgot to mention that at the beginning, the first week of September, the second week of September, we had the orientation day. So this is where we welcome you in Trinity, and we provide an induction of about the MSc course and also about the facilities and show you around the campus. And the teaching started last year on the 20th of September, so around mid-September. Okay, so in terms of entry and application requirements, I assume most of you have been already in touch with Dr. Niamh McGoldrick, but if you want to do an MSc in Energy Science, what you need is an upper second class honors degree or the international equivalent in any of the disciplines in science and engineering. And that can be nanoscience, chemistry, physics, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, chemical engineering. So any of these disciplines are qualify to make an application and enroll in our MSc. But we also sometimes have applicants with experience from industry, which would also have a background in science, but maybe they have been in industry for a little while. We also consider all these applications as well. In terms of application requirements, these are the documents that we'll need from you. The third level qualification results, so your transcript. We need evidence of an English language course, and we can maybe later give you the better insight of the type of tests that Trinity accepts. We need your transcripts, academic transcripts, 2 letters of recommendation, and your passport. Finally, let me just say that we have also available some scholarships every year. We have scholarships, our own scholarships from the MSc in Energy Science. And we also have scholarships from the E3 Institute from Trinity, who generously provide also funding to fund part of the academic fees for non-EU students. Most of these scholarships are for non-EU students. Dr. Niamh McGoldrick will say a few words about other scholarships that you can apply if you're an EU student. Niamh, if you want to.
Yes, I can speak now. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So as regards EU students, there are a number of students who apply for what's called a SUSI grant, SUSI grant, and there are some conditions attached to that grant. So to be eligible for a SUSI grant, you cannot be in receipt of any other scholarships that cover or contribute towards your tuition fees. So we're asking students who are eligible to apply for SUSI grants to please let us know once they receive an offer for their the course and that they're planning to take up the offer, so that we can plan accordingly for those people on those grants. So they're called SUSI grants, SUSI.
Thanks very much, Niamh. If you have still some questions or you want to know more about the scholarships, this is the link to the Energy Science website and the specific website where we have all the information about scholarships. So please go to this link and have a look at the scholarships available. If you still have questions about the SUSI grants or any specific questions about these scholarships that we offer, please do not hesitate to send us an email at energyscience@tcd.ie. Okay, so what are the next steps? Well, first, you need to submit your application documents that I outlined in the previous slides. I would also encourage you to attend these monthly meetings that we will host for from the next coming months. So we will meet, or we offer these monthly meetings to all the offer holders. So if you have submitted your applications and you have received an unconditional or conditional offer, then you can join these monthly meetings. And what it's nice about these meetings is that you'll from day one, you will meet other offer holders and of course with different backgrounds, from different countries, and you will have the opportunity to interact with them and also meet some of the faculty that are involved in the teaching of this MSc. And you can also ask any questions that you have about registration or the course or how life in Dublin is. After you receive the conditional or conditional offer, then you will need to accept this offer by July 31st of this year. Full registration, once you accept your offer, then full registration occurs typically around mid-August. So you'll receive an email to the email address that you provide with the link and instructions about how to register. Once you're fully registered, or at the same time, we always recommend to apply for a visa if you need this document as soon as possible, because it's a very busy period around the summer with people going for holidays to different countries and also people applying for postgraduate programs. So please start all this process as soon as possible, especially the application of the visa. And these are just a few pictures about Dublin and Trinity College Dublin. This is what you see when you access Trinity from the main gate. This is the campanile, and this is a beautiful and gorgeous library that we have in Trinity and that you can visit for free if you are a Trinity student. And these are all pictures from different parts of Ireland. This is Dublin city center, Liffey River, but you can also go and take a bus or train and do some sightseeing. There's amazing places to discover. And of course, we have once a year in March, we have St. Patrick's, which is a very, very well-known tradition and party in Dublin. This is all from my side. Just remind you that this is the Energy Science Management team, myself, Neve, and Professor Juan Diego Rodriguez Blanco. We're here to support you, and anything or any questions you have, please send them in and we're happy